In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about drawing 2D lines. The 2D line tools are located right here next to the oval below the um, select, and we have all these different options for drawing lines. Let's take that center one. This is drawing a line at a given length. Let's view front. I'm actually going to use this line when I'm doing a lot of the work and building these. One technique I do like to use is to set up a center line. So I don't have to constantly, snap to the XYZ coordinates where I want that. So if I just do a center line, I'll always have that ready and work. It's just what I like to do. You don't have to do that. So I set this on center. So here we're going to go to the coordinates and set this up on center. And there's the line. Again, I'm going to work in just in line and not in shaded. So that's locked. I have my perpendicular and horizontal locked. So it's going to go straight up. So I'm just going to make this a random height. And if I just click once, it will be that length. The length number is moving. I can go in there and make that a specific length. Sometimes I'll do that if I'm building a bottle and I know I want the body of that bottle to be 8 inches high. So I can work on that. I could, right in there where it says 10 right now, I could put that at 8. And then I always know that I'm working exactly at that height. Right now, I'm just going to do this random. So I'm going to click on that, and that's that line. This other tool does multiple lines continuous, and they're attached. So I'm just going to, for this demonstration, I'm going to put it on the middle, and I'm just going to click. And if I just click once, I can continuously make a line. And then when I'm done, I double click, and I have this line segment. There are a whole series of different ways of doing this. Splines, B-splines, and a lot of these have different, oops, here we go here, have different features. A lot of this is similar to some of the other drawing tools that you'll see in other software programs. So it creates handles that I can move. And I can make adjustments and modify this line. You can experiment with these different line tools. There's a whole series here. Arcs and circles, you'll probably use those most often. So there's different ways of creating an arc. You can do it this way and do it numerically. One I use quite often is arc 5 at the end, where you get multiple points. I'm going to do this on center, so I'm automatically just snapping to my center line. And I'm just going to draw a random arc about like this. So we can take segments and we can connect them and move them around and modify them. So I'm going to take that particular arc and I'm just going to rotate that up 180 degrees. Oops, I wanted to do copy. So now I have these two arcs. So what we can do is we can join these. There's a series of tools for line modifications right here called just this plain edit. I'm on it right now. There's a series of things we can do here. Right now, I'm going to pick this join tool. I'm going to take the bottom one and the top one. They are now one line and they're connected, and they do have that one point in the middle. So I'm going to take that line and I'm just going to move it off center, approximately here. So once we start building, these are kind of preliminary objects that we will probably build other things with. So here, I'm going to go to, this is the Revolve Derive 2 category. And right, the first one there is called Revolve. So I'm going to select this object. I can select my center line, which happens to be right oriented on the center of our environment. So both of those you can revolve around. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to revolve this shape. I have this set to 180 degrees. So I've gotten half of a full circle on this object. Now I can revolve that around and stitch those two together and get a full shape. Or I could just set this to 360 and perform the same function. And now I have my full shape. And we'll talk about reasons why we might want to do some of these over others. We can also take these shapes and we can perform other functions like, extrude and some of these others. So I have it extrude. We could do dynamic. I'm going to extrude this off of my plane. You can see my plane is in this upright position. So if I grab the object, I can extrude this out and create this surface with the contours of those curves that I created. Another very useful tool that I use quite a bit is I'm just going to move this out of the way. I have this multi-segment line here. Let's just take this. I'm going to rotate a little. Something like this. I'm going to move that off center. So this segment tool, I can use it as is. I can revolve that and extrude it just like I want. So quite often I will make a line like this and control my curves in a different way. Under this tool right here, N curves, the first one is C create. So that's curves create. If you select on that, I have that set to degree, and I'll explain what that means. I'll have it on smooth. So if I select this line, it will soften that using those points that I have. Now I can take that, I can revolve that and turn that into an object. So if I like that curve from the front profile, again, we can go to Revolve. I have it on 360, so it's going to make the entire closure. So now I have that object. So now if I look at it and I'm like, well, I want to make some changes and things like that, we can undo. Now also that line, the control line and the curved line are ghosted. So they are there. So if I proceed down the road and I do things to this and I don't like it, and I just want to kind of throw it away and don't go back, those lines will be saved. So you can see them there, they're ghosted. So I could just get rid of that and I could just unghost these and make modifications. I'm going to get rid of the curved line. So let's say I want to do something more to this. I want to move these points around. I can also add points. And when you do this curves create, these points will affect how that looks. So if you go back to this edit area, and here it has insert point. So let's say I want to add a point in here. Now it's snapping to the middle of this line. I could put it anywhere. I'm going to do it right in the middle. That's why I have these points on. So now I see, okay, I just added that point. So if I go to the front view, I can go to my move tool. Actually, let's go to select, go to point over here. It's my pick tool. And then I can select this point and I can move that. Let's say I want to do that. I could also do this more interactively. I could just take my pick tool, which is on point, and not use the move tool, but just click and hold, and I can move that. Let's say I want to do something like this. I have no idea what I'm going to get, but let's just see what it looks like. So go back to the create curves. And now I have this other type of shape. And if we revolve that, we'll have a whole different feeling for this. So now I have this shape. So this is something you can play with. I use this quite often. I'll set up a line. So it's almost a little bit of a history on this. I want to hang on to every step that I did. And if I do that, I can just delete this and they're ghosted and I can continue working with that. Okay, that's it for this tutorial.